All right, look, our southern border is a complete mess. Truth is, we don't even have a border right now because borders restrict access. What we have is an open door. President Obama told us that we could keep our doctors if we like them, and we could keep our health insurance, and that we would pay $2,500 a year less for it. He said Benghazi was caused by a little video, and he told us that he'd get to the bottom of the IRS scandal. The same president said there was a red line in Syria. He said our borders were more secure than they've ever been. His Justice Department pursued conservative filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza, but not the people who botched Fast and Furious. This president also made this absolutely bogus promise.
I have a track record of transparency. I'll make our government open and transparent. We'll do it in a transparent way. I want transparency. I want accountability. So that the American people can be involved in their own government. Let me say it as simply as I can. Transparency and the rule of law will be the touchstones of this presidency.
Well, in reality, this administration makes the darkest days of the Nixon administration look like a glass-bottom boat off the Cayman Islands. In the disaster along our southern border, border agents, HHS workers, even volunteers are told, see nothing, hear nothing, and speak nothing. The press are given strict rules as to what they can see, record, ask, and report, which leads me to ask, what's worse, a president who thinks that he can suspend the First Amendment, or a compliant and cowardly press corps that goes along with this abuse of office? I fully understand that no elected official is required to help load a gun pointed at his head. No law says a person has to answer questions or grant interviews, especially if one knows the reporter is biased and incapable of getting the story right. But public facilities using public money and run by public employees are the public's business. When Congressman Jim Bridenstine of Oklahoma attempted to visit the warehoused illegal immigrants at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, in his own congressional district, he was told he couldn't come. Now, later he was told he could come, but he was given a long list of restrictions. Are you kidding me? Folks, we elect Congress to ask questions and to have oversight of the way that our money is spent. Saying to a congressman that he can't do his job and even enter a federal facility in his own district ought to outrage every bona fide journalist in America. I've got to ask, where's the outrage? Where are the journalists? Because if the press won't practice the First Amendment, they will surely lose it. Look, I am not a journalist. I don't even play one on TV. I'm admittedly a partisan who ran for and held public office under the auspices of a political party. I readily confess my point of view, but there are too few press people left who will scream out loud when a president lies and covers up the activities of a government that's supposed to be serving us. This week, 38 journalists with the Society of Professional Journalists did send the president a letter that lays out their case for how this administration has stonewalled the media from getting accurate information and access. Well, finally. Now, as for the immigration mess, I'm genuinely sad for the babies and the little kids who are virtually tossed over our border so they can try and get a foothold in a free country. But if this is a humanitarian crisis, then it's the president's lax policies that have created it. And if it's urgent, the president ought to stop playing pool with his buddies, cancel some of the high-dollar fundraisers for his political cronies, and get down in the middle of it and show some leadership to take charge of it instead of just taking checks from big donors. President Obama's actions would be the equivalent of going to New Orleans in the height of Katrina to eat Creole food, but never visiting the Ninth Ward, the Superdome, or the Convention Center. And the press needs to hold him accountable. Or we may lose this great republic because the watchdog has become a lapdog. If thousands of babies in diapers and little kids can get across our borders, do you not wonder how many terrorists are walking across every day? And this president and a compliant and a blind press should be held accountable as co-conspirators.